Today's guest started with only a high school education, no real estate background, and spent years working unpredictable shifts on a railroad. And now he has 21 million in assets under management, and he did it with a strategy most gurus today would call it too slow. This is the Leadway Podcast, episode 212. And if you're hungry to build wealth, escape the W-2, and create a life on your own terms, but nobody around you is talking about how to actually do it, you're in the right place. My name is Chris Rickenbaugh, and every week I sit down with investors and entrepreneurs who have already done it, breaking down the vehicles, the mindset, and the exact moves that built their wealth. Today, I've got Grant Francke, author of The Unlikely Investor, and Grant went from a railway conductor to full-time real estate investor, built an $8 million portfolio, and then within the last 18 months has 2.5x that to 21 million under management. And today we're going to be breaking down exactly how he did it, what it actually cost to leave him the W-2, and the real math behind the leap that most people are afraid to make. Let's get into today's episode. I want to jump right into it. I read your book, The Unlikely Investor, over the past week, getting ready for this call. And, at the time of reading that about a year and a half ago, you're an $8 million real estate portfolio. Now you're at 21 million. What have you been doing over the past year and a half to be able to grow at that scale?
Yeah, it's been a lot of networking, whether it be with brokers or, different agents, different sellers. We've really taken down a couple larger packages that have really helped us scale to that point, but also still taking down like our normal bread and butter BRRRR duplexes or a single family that we're putting into a midterm rental. So it's really the same stuff we've been doing getting to this point, but it's really just kind of scaled up here the last 18 months, 24 months.
And would you say you got pretty comfortable doing like the smaller deals? You're using the BRRRR method to be able to build that equity and cash flow. And now you're at a point to where, you can just start looking at those bigger opportunities, would you say?
Yeah, you bet. So those BRRRR deals and those cash flows that I've been doing, the last 10 years have given me like the foundation to do this, the education to do it, and then the confidence as well. Like really like even the 44 unit deal that we took down, it's really no different than my BRRRRs for duplexes. It's just, more commas and zeros. So it's the same process. We're going in and renovating units, raising rents, lowering expenses. So those sort of things that I have been doing, throughout my entire journey I'm just doing them now just at a larger scale.
Gotcha. Interesting. So, going back to when you got started. So for somebody who's listening, who's hearing your name for the first time, like give us a 60-second version of, who you are and, how you got here.
Yeah, you bet. So I'm in Southeast Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska area. I was a conductor right out of high school for BNSF Railways. So I worked at the railroad for, 13 years. Started investing in 2016 as a reason to get away from that. Have a wife, two kids, didn't want to be gone for everything. So I started buying real estate. By the end of 2019, I was able to go full-time real estate investor right before COVID, that was a great time. But ended up going full-time 2019. And then, like I said, just kind of been scaling since then.
Yeah, and you focused on like kind of the small single family properties in the beginning, but do you remember how scary it was just kind of getting into that first property, taking the full leap from going to from out of a W-2?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was the most terrifying thing I've ever done. I'm leaving a blue collar union job that has a great pension and just kind of going out on my own. But um, I had seen what we had done in those 3 or 4 years, and I knew it was repeatable and scalable. So it gave me confidence in that as well. My wife was completely supportive as well. So taking that leap was terrifying, but it was also like the greatest feeling ever. Walking out that last time and just being on my own and trusting myself that I can do it.
What was there like a certain breaking point to where you had to leave the W-2, or you scaled through real estate to where it's like, hey, I'm comfortable, and it's like, hey, one bad meeting and I'm out of here.
Yeah. No, it really wasn't a bad, it was just kind of a slow, like that frog in a boiling pot. It's just like you
Yeah.
didn't know how bad it was until you got out. You're like, oh, that was awful. But it really got to the point where I could almost quantify what I was losing money in real estate by going to work. Like I
Hmm.
wasn't able to underwrite deals. I wasn't able to meet sellers. I wasn't able to, at that point in time, I was still doing some of the work on the properties. So like I wasn't able to do that. So I was able to quantify it pretty quickly. Like if I could leave and actually give my full attention to real estate, like I'm able to scale that. And that's really when that hockey stick effect took off.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because me and my wife are at that point right now to where I'm all in the business and haven't quite gotten like the hockey stick yet,
Yeah.
and we feel really close to where I'm getting loaded down and it's like, hey, how can you like do 2 hours of work during your nanny job to be able to start kind of like learning the business and being able to kind of foresee coming in full time. So it's yeah, that's interesting to see. It's like when you start losing money because of the W-2, it's like if your full attention was in it, how much can you go make? So that's a really cool thing to be able to see because you're having success during that time. And
Yeah.
so you were able to see like the big swing during 2021 and 2022. What did that do for your portfolio at that time?
The swing in 2021 and 22.
Yes.
Yeah, it was wild, right? Like it was the Wild West. You could put a place up for rent for whatever you thought it could rent for and it would go. Like it was amazing. But looking back at that, we had really built like the base level of our pyramid up.
Mhm.
So it was like we could really scale then, right? So like our base level was really solid. We had solid properties and solid areas. And then once that appreciation happened and that inflation happened, we could really take benefit of that and make it benefit for us as well. So setting up that firm foundation from even when I was beginning all the way through 2022 has really helped us like take off now because A, we have the confidence, we have the balance sheet, all those things set up to where we can actually scale now.
And now to where you're at, from the past 18 months, what are some of those specific deals that you're really using to, increase your cash flow and, your wealth in general?
Yeah, there's a few of the deals we've done in the past that are really like beneficial for us now, whether we could do cash out refinances during that low interest rate time, pull a lot of that capital back out and redeploy it into other properties. We did that a few times. Um, I can't really point to like one specific property that's really set us off. It's really the mindset we've had the whole time and the strategy we've had the whole time that's kind of just allowed us to like stack these up. And then once you stack so many, that's when the snowball effect starts happening. So when those rents go up over our portfolio is a massive difference than if we only had 10% of that portfolio. So we were building this firm foundation the whole time. And then once it took off, it really, elevated us.
Now, are all these BRRRR projects or are they flips? Are they commercial? What is the asset class here that we're kind of talking about?
Yeah, mainly small multifamily. That's our bread and butter. We have about 6 or 7 single family houses. Otherwise, everything's small to mid-sized multifamily. Vast majority are duplexes to eightplexes. Like that's a very large majority of what we have. The biggest one we have is a 44 unit, but we just got that last year. So a vast majority of what we've been doing is those small multifamily burrs where we can buy it, know it's under rented, go in, put some new flooring, paint, countertops down, really take advantage of the rent increases, then go back and do a burr, pull our money back out, and just keep stacking those up. So even when we did some of those burrs back in 19 18, even 2020, like we would pull capital out, probably not be cash flowing a whole lot, but we don't have any money left in the deal, right? So our
Mhm.
cash on cash is very high, flow is low. But then as appreciation happens over time, those cash flows really shoot up, and then your cash on cash gets crazy high. So we had the end in mind, right? Like we weren't trying to get rich tomorrow. We were trying to build wealth for the future. So doing those things and kind of delaying that satisfaction of like, all right, let's just pull refinance, buy another property. We're going to be cash flow negative, or not negative, but lower cash flow for a while until that happens and it all races up.
Yeah, and I like David Green's kind of statement on cash flow. It's more of a defensive metric to be
Yeah.
able to save your properties for the long term, to be able to really, get into the wealth stage and all the appreciation. Is that how you guys viewed it, or were you guys specifically using the cash flow from these properties to replace the W-2 income?
It was a little bit of both. So we definitely like my wife still works for full-time W-2, so it's not like we're just all residing off of my income. But once I did hear about David's green comment, I didn't think it was probably 3 or 4 years ago, but I was like, that makes sense. Like it is a defensive mechanism. You can still spend your cash flow and enjoy life, but it is allowing you to keep that property. So when things do happen, you have that cash flow to take care of it and you're not going to lose it. So yeah, we definitely didn't, I wouldn't say we went into it with that mindset, but like looking back, I was like, yeah, it does make sense that we did do that. And we weren't shooting for a certain we didn't want to make a certain amount of money or anything like that. We're always reinvesting back in the properties or into another project or just to keep things moving up.
Now, I want to move into the property management part of this because, small multifamilies kind of all over the place. I've heard that's typically harder to manage than, just having one big apartment. What's the management look like on that? Are you self-managing?
Yeah, so we self-manage our portfolio. And yeah, it is. I mean, if I had a 200 unit apartment building, it'd be easier than what I'm doing now. But like, I can't piece together a 200 unit apartment building over 10 years, right? Like, it takes just buying those little things up and that sort of thing. So for me, self-management really comes down to systems and processes. Like, anytime something happens that annoys me or frustrates me, like, what system or process can I put in place so that never happens again?
Hmm.
So I had a lot of issues, a lot of stressful things, but I just built something then, okay, well, I don't want to do that again. So how do I fix that and make it not happen? Whether it be something in the lease, communication with tenants, communication with vendors, any of those sort of things that I can do to proactively stop that from happening. I do that way. Um, so really, like, the self-management isn't really a scary thing as it should be, as long as you have the right systems and processes down.
And I think that's a big scary thing for a lot of newer investors because even, just talking to a lot of agents, a lot of homeowners right now, our kind of pitches, it's like, hey, you probably don't want to be a landlord for this property and hold on to it and try and ride out this market that we're in right now. It's like, would you rather take a cash offer, something, where we're taking over payments? And that's usually a big seller for them because it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm a landlord. You probably don't want to be a landlord.
Yeah.
So, for the people that think it's, it is super easy for the people that are into it. But I know right in the beginning, for somebody getting brand new, for somebody, say, in your first deal program that you help coach, what are their mindsets towards, self-managing? Are they all in or, is there nervousness towards it? What's their kind of thoughts?
There's definitely a lot of nervousness, which there should be. You need to know what you're doing when you go into it. Some of the best deals I've been able to buy are from people who don't manage them right. And then I
Hmm.
can see that. And I'm like, there's an opportunity here for me to do a better job managing this. So yeah, there's definite nervousness. As I said, there probably should be. But there's really a lot of things you can do just base level that to make it easier. Like the one I always say, and I did in the beginning, you can make a QR code, stick it on the freezer or the fridge, and the tenant takes a picture of that QR code. It sends them to a Google form. That's where they fill out their maintenance request, and then it hits your inbox. That's a very smooth way of getting your maintenance request. It's better than like taking a phone call and the tenant's having your cell phone and like then you got to listen about how their kid's soccer game was, which I hope it was great. Like I love you. That's awesome, but I don't like that's we need to get through this conversation. So limiting the amount of phone calls has been really huge for me. Sending things through email, automation, text message, and then really almost setting it up so it's like they're renting from a company. I like that because if they're renting from Grant, I can be a pushover. I hope my tenants aren't listening to this, but I can be a pushover. But when they're renting from my company, GLF Properties, like we have firm rules and we have to follow these things. So setting things up as a company and like building this big thing, like you're a big company, but it could just be you. It was just me through 75, 80 doors, but they were renting from my company and not just from me.
Gotcha. So let's shift a little bit. Being able to grow so quickly, like you said, over time, you guys were able to do it over the last 10 years, and then in this last year and a half, 2 years, you guys really exploded. What would you say the mindset shift is? Getting coaching from somebody like Brandon Turner and some of these high level real estate guys. Like, how has that changed your mindset, and what's some of the advice they're giving you?
Yeah, that it really is just getting in the room. So I was in a mastermind with Brandon and Cam Cathcart, who we were just talking about, and a lot of these really big investors. Um, I didn't feel like I belonged in the room, right? Because like these guys are huge people, they're Instagram famous. Like I don't, but it's getting in the mindset with them of like, okay, it's not that like I'm not gonna say it's not that difficult, but like it is possible. Like these people are doing it. They're just like me. They're just a regular person, just like me. So getting in those rooms getting a good mentor, somebody who's kind of been through what I've gone through or what I'm going through already has been huge. Because there's been times even from that mastermind, people that I call still and like, hey, I'm dealing with this issue. So just knowing like I'm not going at this alone. Like people have done this before. It is possible. It just takes some coaching and some help to get through it.
Yeah, what would you say those guys are pushing you on in the mindset? Like, hey, it is bigger numbers, but you're doing the same deals.
Yeah.
Like what are they pushing you for now that you're good on units, you're buying, you have the wealth. It's like what's next? What are some of those questions they're asking?
Yeah, it's really like what do I want to do with my time? Like, do I
Hmm.
want to continue growing or do I want to stay where I'm at? Um, it's been a lot of mindset shift of like you're because I'm still gonna always think I'm just the guy with like five duplexes, right? Like, but I'm not, and I need to start treating my business like a business and running things properly and having systems set up for organization charts and different employees and those sort of things. So for me right now, it's like getting in the rooms with those people of understanding the operation side of it has been huge. But in the like just in that beginning stage, it was getting in the room with them and having their ear and hearing what wrong with them and them questioning me and being like I'm when I'm saying like no I'm good I don't really want to scale I don't want to grow anymore like why then what do you do like what are you doing like you're just retiring now and it's over like that's what do you is that what you want to do okay but if not like there's ways you can continue to scale and grow this and not make it seem miserable because that was my big worry I was like if I get too big it's not going to be any fun right it's going to be a pain in the butt but there are systems and ways you can make it work.
Yeah, that's those would be some interesting questions. Like one of the a girl I just interviewed on the podcast, she's the same age as me. She's got 40 units by 26 and those are the things that I'm asking her because for me, I'm always looking big picture. Like I've had, I listen to guys like Brian Lubin, Gideon Spencer, like what's a perfect day for you in
Hmm.
10 years? And then you backtrack from there and then it's like, are you really aligned for this goal in your actions today? And that's what I asked Michaela. So that podcast, we recorded it today, so it'll come out last week. But that was a cool question for her because she hadn't really thought of that yet.
Yeah.
So, what are those vivid visions that you're writing out now for that like 5 to 10 years from now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was just at a mastermind in Arizona in Phoenix a month ago, and we had this thought experiment. So they said like, "What's your perfect day in 5 years?" So we all wrote it down. We wrote down what it is, and then the question back to us was like, "How do you do that in 24 months? Like,
Hmm.
what's the process to make this happen in 2 years? Your 5 year vision in 2 years." So it was really a powerful thing, and it was for me it really was much more about the business and like how much I'm actually involved which really fired me up to hire some more people and get things involved in the business and how do I my who not how that's a great book right who
Right.
not how like who are my who's like how am I going to do this with my who's so finding more of those who's has been huge for me but really like for my 5 year vision it was like morning time is set up for the family and for the kids and then I can do a little bit of business work check in on some dashboards and then I still love underwriting like that's I love the acquisition side of it so I don't want to give that up quite yet so that I can spend some time underwriting and spend more time with the family in the afternoon, the evening, and just have a relaxing day. That's kind of my 5 year vision.
Yeah. So, do you think you're able to get there pretty soon, or what's the typical day look like for you right now?
I think I could get there fairly soon, but it does come down to like what are my next steps? Like, do I want to keep
Mhm.
growing, or am I comfortable where I'm at? So there's some different factors in there for sure.
Yeah. So you don't quite have that next step planned out.
I don't, and really like there really never has been like I've never had a goal for units or cash flow. It's really just like what deals work. If a deal works,
Hmm.
I'll take it down, but I'm not and I never have and I don't want to like stick my neck out just to try to scale. I'm not going to scale just to scale. I'm going to take down deals that work and then build the system around it.
Gotcha. Because you're not like flipping or wholesaling or anything on
Mm,
the side. You're just
no.
strictly like BRRRR rental. See if we can
Yeah.
do it that way.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, I mean, I flipped a couple and like the last one I flipped is now a really nice midterm rental because I couldn't sell it for enough to make me happy, so I'm just going to keep it. I'm kind of a klepto. Once I buy something, I just want to hold on to it.
Yeah. And do you have them all in one specific area, or are they kind of all across the country?
Yeah, they're all within southeast Nebraska. So within an hour and a half of Lincoln is where all my units are.
Is that because you see the growth there, or is it more just your backyard? Because
My backyard, like it's a cash flow area, so I don't really have to go to somewhere else to find cash flow. So it's really I don't see like there is good growth here, right? It's a good boring market, nothing's going crazy. But yeah, it's just because it's I'm here.
Gotcha. I didn't know if that's one of those like hidden markets nobody talks about, but in six
Yeah.
months we're going to hear on bigger pockets
I
and
don't know, you
everybody's going to
could,
move
but
there.
like just everybody stay away from Lincoln. I don't want anybody to come here. So
Too cold out there. I
yeah.
came down from Ohio, had to get out of it.
Yeah.
Awesome, Grant. Well, you, looking into, the bigger picture, kind of where you're going and kind of figuring that out, you got a lot of your time back to be able to spend with your wife and your kids. Are you teaching them anything about real estate, or how old are they right now to be able to start learning something like that?
Yeah, they're 10 and 12, so they're kind of like they understand what I do a little bit. My son always thought I was just a construction worker for a long time, so now he's kind of understanding a little bit more of what I do. Um, we definitely talk about it a lot. Like it's not a secret that I buy real estate and I invest in real estate and apartments and those sort of things. As far as like financial literacy for them, we do a lot of like the rich dad poor dad cash flow rat race for kids. We do a lot of that stuff, and then we're just open talking about money and how money works around our family. We want to make sure they're kids that are going to provide value in the world. So we make sure we always talk about that of whether no matter what you're doing, provide value, whether it be through your service, labor, acts of kindness, donations. Like you need to provide value to people in this world.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you mentioned before the podcast that you help coach on First Deal and Brandon Turner's group. What are some of these, first time investors, they haven't gotten their first deal. That's how they can get into the program. And, what are some of the questions and the fears they have about around real estate investing that, you're coming to them and going, "Look, it is this simple, but you also have to take these steps." So what's, a regular interaction with a somebody looking to get their first deal?
Yeah, a lot of it, I mean, it comes down to underwriting, I think, for a lot of people. So just the confidence in knowing how to underwrite and what you're underwriting. Because a lot of people, the phantom cash flow of like your rent minus your mortgage is your cash flow. Like that's thrown out the window day one with us. Like you need to factor in for maintenance and capital expenditures and vacancy and all these different things. Um, so it comes down to really underwriting for me and a lot of the people that I talk to. And then like that then breeds confidence in offers. So if you're confident in your underwriting, your offers are going to be better because you're more confident in those numbers. And like I'm fine even sending off my underwriting with my offers to be like, hey, this is how I got here.
Mhm.
I know it's less than what you're asking, but like I'm gonna have to make money here somewhere. But so a lot of it comes down to the underwriting side of it, just giving them confidence in that.
Now, are you telling them to, go direct to seller? Are they just specifically looking on Zillow and on Market?
They really like there's a wide variety of how they want to do it. Like we can coach them through all those different things. So whether they want to get an agent, we always recommend having an agent anyways, and then doing some direct seller stuff. Talking to wholesalers, getting all those different networking pieces lined up.
Yeah, that's gotta. I remember before I bought my first one, I underwrote the crap out of it. I was getting in, but mine was a house hack.
Yeah,
I still think that's the best way to be able to get into real estate for your first time. I was
yeah,
having a conversation with somebody just coming out of college. I'm like, dude, you need to be buying a house hack first. Like, forget the flipping and the fun stuff because you're just gonna sit on your hands. Like it
yeah,
takes so long. And, for one of our last deals, we sent it to the guy and he just took forever. And it's like,
yeah,
man, deals are going to move so quick. You have to be able to move when the numbers work. And, I think that fear is just, that's the biggest thing to be able to get over, to be able to get started in this industry. But, Grant, what are a couple books you're reading right now that, you've been able to learn from, or, some of the most influential books other than, Rich Dad, Poor Dad for real estate?
yeah. Let me look up some of these.
I know I threw that one as
You
a,
did, yeah.
yeah, curveball.
Oh, Be Your Future Self Now is one that I'm reading.
Oh, I got that one on the shelf.
Benjamin Hardy. A lot of Benjamin Hardy's books are really good. His other one that I'm reading is what's the Willpower Does Not Work is another one as
Hmm.
well. So I like Benjamin Hardy's stuff. I like it's kind of science based too, but it's more mindset shift, right? So I'm not reading as many this is how you invest in real estate type of books. It's more like
Hmm.
mindset shift as a business owner and as a leader in my company now too. So and then I always go back to like Who Not How. That's always on my bookshelf too. Just a little reminder of making sure I'm not in the weeds too much.
Yeah, have you ever dove into the Tony Robbins books?
I did in the beginning. I haven't read one in a while. Those are always really thick books. Like I always get
Oh,
kind of
I
discouraged by those.
I just finished two of them, and I mean they're long, but
Yeah.
I would say those are probably like the bigger mindset shifts for
Hmm.
me. And I mean that was just like just to be able to control your own mind and like the
Yeah.
steps to be able to do it. I thought those were really cool books. Then I
I remember reading those at the railroad and being like big mindset shifts of like, okay, like I'm stuck in this mindset of being a railroader and this is what I'm going to do for my
Mhm.
entire life. But if I need to reframe that, like what's that look like for the rest of my life?
Yeah, when did that reframe come? Just being able to go like, "Hey, I'm a W-2 employee. I know there's something out there." It's like, "Hey, I've heard of this real estate thing." Like I mean, it takes like a big shift to like I have to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say it was like early to mid 2019 for me. Like, so probably 6 months before I left. It's when I figured out I was like, I could make more money not being here than being here. So that was an easy mindset shift for me. Like, I'm no
Mhm.
longer a railroader. I'm waiting to leave here so I can invest in real estate full time.
Gotcha. Yeah, my older brother's gonna love this podcast. He's all into trains and
Okay.
railroads, so he's gonna love this one.
It's not
But
as fun when you work there, just so you know. But
I think he'll stay an engineer. I think he's
yeah.
doing pretty well there.
Yeah.
But Grant, yeah, I appreciate your time. So cool having you on. If somebody wants to connect with you, or read your book, get in touch with you about First Deal, what's the best place to go?
Yeah, Instagram's going to be the best way. Grant.Francke, Francke, is going to be the best way to meet up with me. My book's on Amazon, The Unlikely Investor. I'm just wrapping up my second book, so hopefully that's out by June-ish, June or July. So that should be out on Amazon as well.
Oh, any teases what it's gonna be
Yeah,
about?
so it's self-management. It's all about self-management. I'm thinking it's gonna be The Boring Landlord is the name. We'll see. But so it's really my systems and process, like on how I built this from when I had 10 units up to when I have 215 units. So it'll go through that whole process.
That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
well, I'll make sure to link all of Grant's information and the link to Amazon for the book in the show description. But, Grant, thank you so much. This has been Chris and Grant on the Leadway Podcast.